Do you ever feel trapped by the story someone else wrote about you? Like you're living a version of yourself that was never really true? This is a story about a man who spent his whole life believing a lie until his hands remembered the truth. In a small mountain village, everyone knew Tomas as the clumsy one. It started when he was 7 years old. His father, a respected carpenter, watched him drop a hammer during a lesson. "You have clumsy hands," his father said with a sigh. "You're not meant for this work." The words felt heavy, like stones placed on young shoulders. His teachers repeated the story. "Tomas? Oh, he can't handle delicate things. Remember when he broke that cup? Poor boy has clumsy hands." The other children heard it too, and soon they stopped asking him to help with projects. "Don't give that to Tomas, he'll drop it." Even when he reached for something, people would gently take it from him. "Let me carry that, we don't want any accidents." Year after year, Tomas learned to believe the story. He stopped reaching for things. He stopped trying to build or create. He took simple jobs, carrying water, moving stones, work that didn't require careful hands. When he saw the village potter shaping beautiful clay, something inside him stirred, but he always walked away. Clumsy hands can't create beauty. Everyone knew that. One autumn day, a traveling merchant arrived with a cart full of broken pottery. "I need these fixed," he said. "They're special orders. I'll pay well." But the village potter was sick in bed, burning with fever. No one else knew the craft. The merchant grew desperate. "Isn't there anyone at all?" The villagers looked at each other and shook their heads. Then someone said, "What about Tomas?" The merchant looked hopeful, but others quickly said, No, Tomas has clumsy hands. He can't do delicate work." The merchant's face fell. Tomas stood at the edge of the crowd, something pulling at his chest. The broken pottery seemed to call to him, but he stayed silent. The story was too loud. That night, Tomas couldn't sleep. He kept seeing the broken pieces. Finally, he walked to the merchant's cart. In the moonlight, he looked at the shattered pottery. His hands reached out and stopped. "What if they're right? What if I ruin everything?" But something deeper whispered, "What if they're wrong?" His fingers touched the first piece, then another. His hands began sorting the fragments with surprising gentleness. He found himself at the potter's workshop, his hands moving toward the clay. He expected to be clumsy. He expected to fail. But his hands knew what to do. They shaped the clay with confidence he didn't know he had. They pressed and smoothed and formed. Hours passed. By dawn, he had created something beautiful, a pot more lovely than any he'd seen before. He stared at his hands, covered in clay, and tears filled his eyes. These weren't clumsy hands. They never had been. When the village woke, they found Tomas in the workshop, surrounded by repaired pottery and new creations. The merchant was amazed. "Who did this?" he asked. "This is masterwork." The villagers stared. Tomas looked at his father and said quietly, "I did it. My hands did it." His father's face changed, surprise, then something like pain. "But I said I thought you couldn't." Tomas shook his head gently. "You saw me drop one hammer when I was 7. You wrote a story about me that day, and I lived inside that story for 30 years. The old potter, recovered now, examined Tomas's work. "These hands are not clumsy," he said. "These are the hands of a natural artist. They always were." He looked at the villagers. We can tell someone who they are so many times that they forget to ask their own hands, their own heart, who they really are. Tomas didn't blame his father or the village. He understood that people see what they expect to see. One moment becomes a story becomes a label becomes an identity. But underneath every false label, the truth waits patiently, like clay waiting for the right hands to remember what they can do. From that day on, Tomas became the village's master potter. But more than that, he became the person who reminded others. Don't let someone else's story about you become your truth. Your hands know things your mind has forgotten. Your heart holds a truth that no label can touch. Sometimes you just need to reach out and remember who you always were.